Almost a year ago was announced by Disney that they're thinking about rebooting the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise with Ayo Edebiri taking over the lead role, replacing Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow, because Disney decided to cut ties with him after allegations from his ex-wife Amber Heard came out that he was abusive towards her. Come to find out after the trial, she was actually the abuser in their relationship. So not only was Johnny Depp exonerated legally, but also in the public eye. But as a result of Disney deciding to turn their back on him, he said he didn't want to work with them as a result of all that. But that may change too, because producer for Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Jerry Bruckheimer, is also a friend of Johnny Depp's, and he's kind of had his back this whole time, and he's been talking with Johnny Depp behind the scenes about potentially returning to the role of Captain Jack Sparrow. And it looks like Disney might be on board with this decision too. So the question is whether or not Johnny Depp would be willing to come back after all that's gone on. Disney wants Johnny Depp back in Pirates of the Caribbean 6 after trial when hope is not lost. Johnny Depp's Captain Jack Sparrow may return after all. Now, personally, I think this is a franchise that's kind of run its course. It feels like it's something that's steadily gone down in quality pretty much since the first movie. This is one of those franchises where every movie is not as good as the one came before it, but still, these movies make a lot of money for Disney, so I can understand why they want to continue on with them as long as they are making money. And I think bringing Johnny Depp back would actually be a big win for them, and I think a lot of people would be willing to actually come out and see it just to see him in a new Pirates of the Caribbean role. After sifting through several ideas to continue the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, Disney reportedly landed back on its original breadwinner, Johnny Depp. The Pirates of the Caribbean franchise performed exceptionally well at the global box office. Each film grossed over $650 million, and multiple entries crossed the $1 billion mark. Considering the monetary success, fans have wanted another installment following 2017's Dead Men Tell No Tales. After a variety of spin-offs and reboot ideas, it seems all roads have led back to the original leading man. Now, just to be clear, this isn't saying with 100% certainty that he's coming back or they're not going to do a reboot at all. This is all pretty much predicated on whether or not Johnny Depp is willing to come back to Disney after what they did to him, cutting ties with him in a pretty public manner, saying specifically it was because of those allegations that went on off screen. Something that did help Johnny Depp win his defamation lawsuit against ex-wife Amber Heard, because part of defamation is you have to prove damages, and it was pretty obvious there was career damages to Johnny Depp because of those accusations. According to Variety, Disney is ready to return to the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise with plans for a potential sequel after being accused of domestic abuse by his ex-wife Amber Heard. It seems Johnny Depp would never return as Captain Jack Sparrow and may have a hard time finding any work after. Okay, so kind of went over all that, talking about the defamation case right here. Reportedly, Disney has not spoken with Johnny Depp about returning for Pirates of the Caribbean 6. Still, producer Jerry Bruckheimer is working on 2 versions of the script, one of which could incorporate Depp returning as Jack Sparrow. In 2023, Disney Studios Motion Picture Production President Sean Bailey was asked about Depp's possible return for Pirates 6, noting that it was not non-committal at this point. So, in other words, they're not saying we're pursuing Johnny Depp to work on this because they don't want to put that out there. They're basically just saying it's up in the air that it's a possibility, which is a pretty good move in Johnny Depp's favor, considering their previous position was they don't want to work with him anymore. So now that they're actually shifting and saying like, we're willing to work with him, this is them basically not putting it out there, because then if it turns out that it doesn't work out, then it would be obvious that it was because Johnny Depp rejected them. So if this stage right now, they can just kind of leave it somewhat open-ended. So if it doesn't work out where Johnny Depp doesn't come back, they could always just kind of say like, oh yeah, we didn't want him for this role, sort of thing. And to say Disney hasn't been speaking with him, I think that's because maybe they didn't have any official meetings with him. But like I said, producer for this, Jerry Bruckheimer, technically isn't Disney. He's just the producer for the films. And he has been talking with Johnny Depp about potentially returning, and that's why they're actually working on these scripts with him. In the past, though, Johnny Depp has said that he wasn't interested in returning to work for Disney after what they did with him. During the trial, he was asked about that. This is what it said during the defamation trial. Depp stated that he would never work with Disney again. The fact is, Mr. Depp, if Disney came to you with $300 million and a million alpacas, nothing on earth would get you to go back and work with Disney on a Pirates of the Caribbean film. Correct. Amber Heard's attorney, Ben Rottenborn, asked Depp during the proceedings back in April 2021. That is true, Mr. Rottenborn. Depp replied, according to the source, Depp's feeling towards the studio has now softened, meaning audiences could see Jack Sparrow take to the high seas once again. So clearly he was upset with them back then. Since then, though, I think he's understood, like, okay, if they're willing to apologize and offer me what I want for returning to it, then maybe I will come back. I don't know if they necessarily have to give him $300 million and a million alpacas. I think that was kind of something that he said jokingly during the trial, that he wouldn't come back for a million alpacas. Seems kind of strange, but I guess he likes alpacas. And he said he didn't want to return then, but since then he's willing to come back. Speaking with Jerry Bruckheimer, it seems like he is kind of on the fence about all this, but still willing to give him a shot if they basically agree to the terms that he wants. Don't know what those would be just yet, and I don't think they even know yet. There's, like it says in the article, there's really not meeting with him to negotiate any terms right now. They're just floating the idea, and it seems like it's something that a lot of fans would be interested in seeing. Hope seemed lost in May 2024 when Bruckheimer told Variety that the plan was to reboot the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. When asked about bringing the crew of Pirates back together, it's hard to tell. You don't know. You really don't know. You don't know how they can't come together. You just don't know, because with Top Gun, you have an actor who is iconic and brilliant, and how many movies he does before he does Top Gun, I can't tell you, but we're going to reboot Pirates, so that is easier to put together because you don't have to wait for certain actors. Much has seemingly changed since these comments were made, considering Disney is now actively working on a Pirates of the Caribbean film starring Johnny Depp. While a reboot may still happen, it seems Disney has changed its mind about working with Depp again, which will likely bring a smile to many fans of the franchise and Depp supporters. So I think really, like I was saying, the ball's kind of in Johnny Depp's court, whether or not he wants to come back or not. And then it's up to Disney whether they're going to actually meet his demands for working on this movie or not, because he really doesn't need Disney at this point right now. I think they need him more than he needs them. So it really is just a matter of whether or not he wants to come back, because I think Disney saw the reaction to the potential reboot and all the different iterations that they did have of that. And a lot of people aren't really happy with what they're doing as a result of all this. So I think a lot of fans would be happy to see Johnny Depp come back. And I think if they did bring him back, and that was the big selling point for this, is it's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie with Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow, I think it actually would do pretty well at the box office, because a lot of fans of Johnny Depp and a lot of fans of the Pirates franchise would want to come out and see that. If they just did a complete reboot entirely with a new cast, I think there would be some people willing to check that out, but I think a lot of people would just choose to pass it up out of principle, because they would know that the reason Johnny Depp isn't in it is because Disney basically made the wrong move by firing him to begin with. So they would decide to set that out in support of Johnny Depp, because during that trial for him, a lot of people were paying attention to it, and a lot of people were upset with a lot of these studios for firing him as a result of all this. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with this. But the fact that they're actually working on a script right now with Johnny Depp in it, and Sean Bailey over at Disney has said that they're not ruling it out entirely, that it's something that's being discussed behind the scenes, I think that is a good sign for people who want to see Johnny Depp back in Pirates of the Caribbean. Or maybe you just think that this franchise should be over with. But in all honesty, since it's a very lucrative franchise for Disney, they're not going to end it right now. They're going to make more movies. So it's just a question of whether they're going to make it with Johnny Depp or whether they're going to make it with someone else. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think he should come back, or do you think Disney made their decision and he should just leave them as a result of all this? And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there, because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.